Hey guys, Mr. Jalapeno here with another episode of Jalapeno Drywall. On today's project, we're going to be testing out this can of orange peel wall texture from Homax. But before we could test it out, we have to patch this hole. First thing you want to do is lay down some plastic, that way you don't make a big old mess. Then I'm going to use this piece of wood as my backing to hold the drywall up. Just make sure that when you're putting in the screws, not to go in too deep, you don't want to rip that drywall paper off. And luckily here, Mr. Sparky actually saved the drywall piece for me. That really does help because I was able to take that piece to Home Depot and get a color match. Next, you're going to want to get your utility blade and clean out the seams around the patch. Just be careful when using your knife, you don't want to cut yourself. And now the patch is prepped and ready for the hot mud. I recommend you get a little bit of this Easy Sand 5 hot mud. You can also use joint compound, but it's going to take forever to dry. All you have to do is just add a little bit of water, and once you're done mixing, go ahead and fill all the seams around the patch. Make sure you really push the hot mud into the seams, that way everything's filled. Next, go ahead and apply this fiber fuse tape over the seams. You can also use mesh tape or paper tape. What this is going to do is that it's just going to help strengthen the patch. After all that, go ahead and mix up a little bit more hot mud and apply it over the patch. I always say you want to apply the mud like if you're spreading the Nutella on your toast. And after you apply the first coat, let it set for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you can go ahead and apply the second coat, but just make sure that your second coat's not too thick. Remember, you don't want it to look bumpy. And now just let it set for another 10 to 15 minutes. Grab a wet rag and wipe around the edge of the patch. This is just going to help it blend a little bit better to the wall. And as you can see, the existing texture doesn't look the greatest, but no worries, we'll make it look good. And then look, you can also adjust how heavy or how fine you want the texture to look. Just make sure you shake that can really good. And then I like to spray it on the plastic a little bit, that way I could test out the pattern. This way I could either adjust it heavier or finer. I always recommend orange peel texture for rental properties just because it's easier maintenance. And as you can see here, that little texture can works amazingly good if you do have this type of texture. And once it's dry, go ahead and grab a wet rag and wipe off any of the overspray that might be around the patch. And the paint I'm using here is the one I got for the color match at Home Depot. They do a pretty good job there at color matching. And if you want to get that texture can or any of the other products I used here in this video, just go to my Amazon storefront. It'll be under Drywall Repair Essentials. They are affiliate links, so it's a good way to help support the channel at no extra cost to you. And yeah, once you've applied the first coat of paint, let it dry and then go ahead and apply the second coat. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of these texture cans. I actually really like them. It gets the thumbs up and point. Jalapeno Solutions. Boom!